Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial, and today I want to show you how to make this blooming garden bracelet. And the reason I called it that is because I used all pastel color pearls, and you can use pretty much any color you want, except there's a limited amount of these O beads that I'm going to show you how to use today and show you. We'll get to that in a minute. This bracelet here, I made the closure, but I am not going to show you how to make this closure because I don't find it very secure, because these bend. You see, it's not perfectly straight, and this bar doesn't stay straight. So I'd be afraid of showing you how to do that and then you lose your bracelet and then you'll leave nasty comments. So what you can do is just sew on a regular toggle closure, lobster clasp, whatever you want. I'm not going to show you how to sew on a closure. If you want to know how to sew on a closure, I've got a ton of videos on here with bracelets, and I show how to put toggle clasp on every single bracelet, and nothing really changes. And if you want to make your own clasp, you go right ahead and make your own clasp too. It's up to you. But today I want to show you how to make these components and how you can turn these components into a bracelet, into a pair of earrings, into a ring, or even into a necklace. But I'm not going to show you how to do the necklace because I haven't really worked on that just yet. So for now, I'm going to tell you what you need to make the bracelet. You're going to need some, these ones here I'm using are called Miyoki Silver Line Smoke Amethyst AB. It's a really pretty size 8 seed bead. You will need an 8mm pearl, and that will be for your center of your bracelet or your component. You will need some 3mm Czech fire polish beads. So these are crystal AB. And you will need 6mm pearls. I'm using the same color today, but you can use different colors like I did in here, and I used white in between here in the 6mm. And you will need a 15 O seed bead. Now these O beads, and this is the O beads here, they're like little tiny donuts. They're very small. They're great for spacers. They're great for I made this ring here that I was going to do a tutorial on this, but Potomac Bead Company that supplies these O beads, and they're the only ones that do supply them because these were made in the Czech Republic. They're a Czech glass bead, and they were exclusively made for Potomac Bead Company. So this is the only place you can get these beads. I will leave a link below as to where you can buy the O beads from Potomac Bead Company, and it'll bring you directly to the page where you can purchase these. They have a selected amount of colors right now. I guess they're going to be getting more in. This color here is called Slipperit. It's really pretty. It's like a gold purpley finish. It's just beautiful. And some of them are $5.99 a tube. And you get this tube right here, this size tube. Some are more, some are $6.99. I guess it just depends on the finish of the O bead. They're very pretty beads. You won't regret buying these. I bought a few colors and I'm hooked on these O beads. I did make this ring, which Potomac Bead Company will be doing a tutorial on because I sent them the written pattern for it. And I'll be letting you know when the tutorial comes out for this particular ring. Anyways, you will need a size 10 or 12 beading needle, and for each component you're going to need at least 3/4 of a yard of Fireline. If you are going to make the ring, you will need a bit of Stretch Magic, which I'm going to use here when we turn this component into a ring. I will show you how to join them, so they're all the same here. And I will show you how to make it into a ring. Okay? So gather all your materials and meet me back here and we'll get started. Okay, first of all, you're going to thread your needle with your Fireline, and then you're going to pick up one of your 8mm pearls, like so. You're going to take your needle and go right through the pearl like that, holding your tail, making about 3-inch tail, 4-inch tail. And then you're going to take your needle and go back through the pearl, making a circle, because you want your thread to be on the outside of the pearl, like so. And then you're going to do it again. So you have 2 strands on this side of the pearl. Turn your pearl around and do the same thing on the other side. Go through the pearl twice and lock your thread, secure that thread in place. So now you have 2 pieces, 2 places to work on each side of your pearl. Now first you're going to pick up an 8/0, 2 15/0s, and an 8/0 on your needle. So this is what you've got. I'm coming out of the top of my pearl like this. I need to go under these 2 threads, so under those 2 threads like that. Hope you can see that. And pull my needle through. I'm going to go back up into the last 8/0 I strung on. Well, my needle doesn't fall out. Like that. Go back up and pull that. So this is just a brick stitch that we're doing, but we are adding 2 15/0s on top. One, because we need them, and second, because it hides the thread that's going to be between the 2 8/0s. So first time you do brick stitch, first stitch you make, you always pick up 2 beads. Alright? Now you're going to pick up 2 15s, an 8/0 on your needle like so. Run your needle through, catch those threads, and pull that in place, and put your needle back up through the last, the 8/0 only, and pull. And you're going to do this all the way around the pearl until you have 10 8/0s. So you're going to do 5 on this side where you wrapped your thread twice. So let's do that. Let's pick up 2 15s and 8 and go through the threads, through the 8/0, and pull. So there's 4 on there. Pick up 2 15s, an 8, and through that thread, and back up through the 8 and pull. So now we've got 5 8/0s on here. Now here's your tail coming out of the bottom of this pearl. Take your tail and fold it over so you have 3 strands now instead of 2, and hold your tail down here between your fingers if you can do that, because now we're going to pick up 2 15s and we're going to catch the tail as we go. 2 15s, an 8, and capture all 3 of these threads. And it can be a bit tricky at first to get the first one in. Alright? And pull. And back up through the 8/0, pulling that in place. So what you're doing basically is just weaving your tail all the way in to the top here. So try not to skip putting this tail on. So I'm going to leave you to finish putting the last 4 beads on, and I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so you've gotten all 10 of your beads on, and now you need to join these beads, these 2 8/0s in line here. So pick up 2 15s and go down into the very first 8/0 that you strung on in this one here and pull this in place. Move your tail out of the way. And then go back up into the last bead you strung on, pulling tight, and then to secure it, go through the 2 15s that you just put on and back down in that first 8/0 that you put on in the beginning. And then take a jaunt to the right and go up into the next 8/0 beside the one, so it will be the second bead that you strung on with your first 8/0, and that should secure it all into place. Then we're going to cut this tail off now because we've weaved it in, so I'm going to burn it off. Now you're exiting out of your 8/0 that you came up in. Just go on either side, whichever way you're comfortable working in. I am going to exit through the 2 15s on top, pulling this tight. Okay? And now your piece should look like that. Now you're going to pick up, we're going to work with our really pretty O beads. Gosh, I love these beads, they're so beautiful. Pick up 2 O beads on your needle and go across right into the next 2 15s that are sitting on top of your 8/0s, and pull these 2 O beads in between like so. Okay. Pick up 2, gosh, dogs, 2 O beads and go right into the next 2 15/0s beside it, and pull these O beads into place here like that. Pick up 2 into the next 2 15s and pull those into place too. So do that all the way around. You may have to maneuver them in between these 15s, but they will go in there, so they will fit. So I'm going to go off camera now and finish putting my O beads on this last row, and I'll be back to show you what to do next. Okay, so now you should have this, and you should be exiting out of the 2 15s, your 2 here, after you finish putting your last 2 O beads on, and you're going to open these O beads and you're going to exit going towards the middle of the group of 2, so you're exiting like that between the O beads, like so. And then you're going to pick up 1 O bead on your needle and exit through the next O bead and pull that into place, so you should have 3 there. Then you're going to pick up an 8/0, so we need some 8/0s here. So you're going to pick up an 8/0 and you're going to go through the next O bead between the 2, like so, and pull that in place. Pick up an O bead, exit into the next O bead. So you're putting an O bead between the 2 O beads you put on in the previous round, like so. Pick up an 8/0. Try not to pull this row super tight, okay? Don't pull it super tight, because it's gonna be a little bit warped, but that will correct when we've put our last row on. So do this all the way around, picking up 1 O bead between the 2 O beads that you put on, and an 8/0 between each group of O beads in that space there. And I'll be back to show you what to do next. Okay, so I've gotten all my 8/0s put on here and my O beads between each group of 2, and I'm exiting out of the O bead where I started in, and you're just going to step up into the single O bead that you put on in this last round. Okay, so it should look like that. Exiting here. Now, it's going to seem a little bit warped, but that's going to get corrected. See, it's a little bit warped, but we're going to fix that. Now, we're going to use our Czech fire polish and our 15-0 seed beads. Okay. So on your needle, you're going to pick up a 15, a Czech fire, a 3mm Czech fire polish on your needle like so. You're exiting in this O bead between the two here, and you're just going to go across and exit in this O bead. Now, you could see how that's going to sit, right? Push it to the back and give it a little tug, so it's kind of sitting side by side with the 8-0. Pick up a 15, a 3mm and a 15, and exit into the next O bead, pulling this one, pushing it in, kind of tucking it underneath the 8-0 all the way around. 15, 3mm and a 15. In the O bead across and pull it. And once you get a few on, they're gonna automatically go in behind like so. So you kind of want it to be like that. So I'm going to let you finish putting those on. I'm going to finish this off camera and I'll be back. Do not cut your thread. Okay, so we've gotten that round complete now. This completes your component. Now what you need to do is go all the way around one more time, and you can basically see your threads. So you can see you've gone only once if there's one thread. And now you can pull this good and tight. And you're just going to reinforce this one time, because you do have to go through all these beads, not all of them, but some of these beads, to sew them together, or to put a bail on, or to put your ring shank on. So you don't want to overdo it with reinforcing, or you're not going to be able to do that. I am using a size 10 beading needle. I hate using size 12, so if I don't have to, don't use them. Because when I pull my thread tight, I bend my needle. So a size 12 bends really fast for me. I can get a few uses out of the 10, but then I have a great supply of all different kinds of needles in size 10. So I use it a few times. If it's bent, I just throw it away. Well, I don't throw it away, actually. I have this little, I don't know if you've ever seen my bead haul, or my bead storage. Anyways, I have these little containers that I keep all my bent and crappy needles in, and I take an empty bead tube, which everybody's got these bead tubes. When this tube is empty, and I have enough needles to fill this tube, I will throw these in the garbage with the tube inside of this tube, and seal the tube with tape all around, just because it's not fair if the garbage men pick up my garbage and get poked with needles. That's pretty dangerous, and you could probably get in trouble for that. So I hope you guys dispose of your needles in a proper manner, and that's just a little tip. That's what I do. I keep them in a plastic container. You can even use a pill bottle. An empty pill bottle would work for that as well, if you don't want to waste one of your tubes. As long as you put them in something that's really hard plastic that the needle cannot poke through it, then you're good. Like, I've purchased these these needle cases. They're really nice. I mean, I just labeled it because I wanted the size 10 showing. But inside here, your needles just slide out really, your needles just slide out really nicely. So they stay in this. So if you have lots of these and you want to throw your excess broken needles, bent needles in there and throw it in the garbage, that's up to you. But it's just a habit to get into, is not disposing your needles in the garbage or flushing them in a toilet like some people might do. It's just nuts. Anyways, now that you've gone around once, you want to be exiting out of one of the 3mm, but you need to be exiting that way. So let's go through here and exit this way. So you're on the outside of the 3mm, okay, not on the inside. Now let me show you how to sew some together. Now, when you're making your components, I just leave the thread on them. I don't cut the thread off because I use this to join them with. All right. Goodness. So, on your needle, here's where your 6mm are going to come into play as well. You're going to pick up 2 of your 15s, a 6mm, and a 2 of your 15s. This is what you will have on your needle, okay? Now where your thread is on your second component, you want to be across from it. So I am going to exit my needle through this 3mm, going in this direction, goodness, across the entire group of beads here. So we have to catch the 3, the 15, the O bead, the 15, and exit out of 3mm in that manner. Okay, sorry about that. Wow, it's just really, really dry here, and I've got a tickle in my throat, and I just started coughing. All right, so we've exited through the 3mm, the 15, the O bead, the 15, and back out another 3mm. Now you're going to pick up 2 15s again, a 6mm pearl, and 2 15s. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to just make a circle, exiting through all these beads again. And you might not be able to catch them in one try, so this is what you should have. So I've left this thread exiting over here so I can put the next component on. Now you're going to go through all these beads and reinforce this 2 times, at least 2 times. So you're going to go back up in the 15, 2 15s, into the pearl, into the 2 15s, and pull. Oh my goodness, it's so dry in here. It's so cold here. And back in there. Then through the 15 and through the 3mm. And then you're going to do that one more time. Like so. Okay, so you're exiting out of one of these pearls. Doesn't matter which side. Then you're going to pick up 2 15s, a 3mm crystal, your fire polish, and 2 15s on your needle like so. You're exiting here, so you're just going to come across. One sec. Okay, sorry about that. So you've picked up your beads, you're exiting in this pearl here, you're just going to come across. Let me do it here. And you're going to go exit just through the pearl and no other beads. And pull. Like so. So it's kind of going to sit on the ridge. Pick up 2 15s, fire polish, 2 15s, and again you're going to exit through just the pearl on the other side. And pull that into place. So this is what you should have. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to reinforce this a few times. Weave your needle through whatever beads you want, how many beads you want, and tie some half-hitch knots and cut that thread off. Then you're going to pick up your thread on your other component and you're going to sew it again on like that. And continue that way. On this end here, you're going to sew a toggle clasp of whatever kind you want, a 2-strand clasp, whatever you got on hand or what you want to use, you sew that on. I would sew on just a toggle like this, a small one. Now, if you want to turn this into a ring, which I will be glad to show you, or an earring, we're just going to reuse these components. So I'm just going to pull this out quickly. So if you want to turn this into a ring, I would suggest do it this way. When making rings, I like to use the stretch cord, but I like to do my shanks like this. So, you know, because I sew this part in with the ring, and then this part here is the stretch cord, so that's the way we're going to do this one as well. So you're going to pick up 2 15s and 5 3mm beads. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 2 15s. You're exiting out of your 3mm the same way, and you're just going to make a circle and go back into all these beads. Like so. Do you have that? Sorry. Really dry in here. Then you're going to go through all these beads again and reinforce this. So just go through all the beads you just strung on. Through your few beads there. Pull. And one more time. 3 times is good. And through that again. Now, you've gotten this side of your shank done, so you're going to come along here and you're going to go through all these beads till you're exiting out of this side here. So you're going to put the same thing over here, and I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I've gone all the way around and I'm exiting out of the 3mm like I did on this side, And I'm going to do the same thing as pick up 2 15s and 5 fire polish beads. And again, you're going to pick up 2 15s. So that's what you'll have on your needle. You're coming out of your 3mm this way. You're going to go around and make a circle and go through these beads. So your ring band is, you're kind of like the base of your ring shank. And go through it like so. I thought I would mention this too. If you were making this into an earring, you'd only do the one side and only use 3 of these fire polish beads, and then you'll be able to put a ring in it, or you can use just 50 no seed beads. It's up to you. You need to make a little bail, and you're going to reinforce this now 3 times like you did on the other side. Pulling it nice and tight. And one more time. Yeah, for the earring, if your loops are small, I wouldn't even use fire polish in there. I would just stick with the 50 no seed beads, because then it'll hang on to your it'll go into your earring loop easily. Now you've completed this. You're going to go around here and tie some 1/2 inch knots and cut your thread off, and I'll come back and show you what to do next. Alright, so I've reinforced this and cut my thread off, tied quite a few 1/2 inch knots in there, and now you need to have a piece of stretch magic or stretch cord of whatever kind you got. Cut off a piece of that, and in order to get it through this 3mm, I'm going to stick my needle in there and wiggle it around just to flatten all the threads so that my cord goes through it with no problem. Like that. Okay. And you're in the 3rd bead of the group of 5 fire polish. So this is the middle bead here. And then you're going to pick up a 3mm on each side, one on each side, and you're going to pick up a 3rd one, and you're going to cross your ends through the 3rd fire polish. And because my cord is pretty thick, I have to stretch this really tight and cut the circulation off of my finger to get this to go through like so. Now put your ends together for the first time, first one that you put on, and bring it down to the center like that. Now do that again. Pick up a 3mm on each end, and you're going to pick up another one, and you're going to cross your ends into the 3rd one and pull. Now you're going to do this for the length. I would just fold it over like this and measure it on your finger, and when you finish that, only string 1 bead on each side, and then I'll show you what to do. And also get your glue or clear nail polish. I'm going to use clear nail polish because I really like clear nail polish for saving my knots. So I'm going to use this. Okay, see you back here when you get the length done and a bead on each end. Okay, so once you've gotten the length that you need and you've got your last two 3mm on here, you're going to hold one end, take your needle again and kind of manipulate this hole a bit so you flatten the Fireline in there. Take one end and go through that bead with your line to join your ring band. And then you're going to do a square knot, which is right over left. Right over left. Pull it tight there. And left over right. And join. Pull that, give that a good snug pull. Then you're going to take your clear nail polish or glue. I like clear nail polish because it's shiny, and if it dabs on your bead by accident, so stretch this out and dab that knot all the way around with your nail polish as much as you can, and let it dry. There we go. Let that dry good and hard, and then cut your ends off, and then you'll have yourself a nice little ring to match your bracelet. Well, this one doesn't really match it, but it is the same thing as this. I've gone ahead and did these earrings up. So with the other two components, I made earrings, and then we have a ring. So what do you think of that? These components, you can do whatever you want with them. I really like the fact that the ring is flat. You see, I love flat rings, and it is a stretchy ring, so I could wear it on basically any finger I want to wear it on, and it'll look nice. It's up to you. I just wanted to show you basically how to do the components and how to sew them together to put them into a bracelet if you want to do it this way. I'm wondering if you guys are interested in doing some macrame. As you can see, I've got a bracelet here I've made. It's called triple macrame, and these are acrylic pave beads with 6mm Swarovskis in between. So it's kind of like a Shambhala bracelet, only the end here, I don't like the way the end turned out, so I have a different way of finishing this bracelet off that I would like to show. If you guys are interested, get yourself some big hole beads. This is silk cording. Rat tail silk cording is all it's called, and it's and I'm using Ceylon, black Ceylon to thread my beads on with, just because the silk cording is too thick to get through my 6mm crystals. So next week I think I'm going to do a tutorial on some kind of macrame bracelet, close to being like this, but only the closure will be a little different than this. The problem with this was why I had to finish it like this is I kept on going and going and going, and it got too big to do the closure I needed to do here. So I need to go at least 2 beads less, and it'll work out perfect. Alright, so I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you make a lot of fun projects with your component, and you do get yourself some O beads. Again, like I said, the link for the O beads is going to be in the description box below. So have yourself a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon on the next tutorial. Bye bye everyone.